Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
And I'm Rangru, hello, hello, hello.
And folks, today we are on Ciano to give you some more Redstorm 44 action. Right, we got a couple of old friends today. What's going on today?
Well, on left-hand side in the blue, we have ourselves AS playing the 5th SS Panzer Division. Right-hand side in the red, we have Atreides playing as the 55th Guards Infantry Division. And well, there's a lot of 5s and division names today, Khan.
What exactly do you mean by that? Tell us a little bit
Well, we
more.
got like 5th SS and then 55th Rifle, you know? Lots of 5s.
Yeah, I guess at that point I'm having a very like Clone Wars vibe, but maybe I just I've been watching too much Lucas stuff in the recent past. I will say I'm actually looking forward to seeing how the Vikings expect themselves to be competitive against the entire Russian Air Force that's going to come swinging on down around them.
Yeah, Patrusine AS really doesn't have much air power, only just Focke-Wulf fighters. And also not much artillery as well, so he's definitely relying more on the direct firepower, but it's been a pretty interesting matchup. Lots of very good infantry from both sides, SS troops from AS and Sturmoviki from Atreides, and also heavy armor, Panthers, ISUs, and IS2s and SU-122s.
Well, I feel like one of those things though. I'm trying to figure out the whole infantry fight between the two because numbers are roughly comparative, but AS over here is not looking to bring in anything in C, which I know we talk about this. These games, while they're not perfect, do tend to go just a shade longer.
Yeah, you usually want at least 1 or 2 cards of C-phase infantry, even though B-phase does go till like 30 minutes into the match, which is, majority of Redstorm really comes down to the B-phase, I would say.
I agree, but I do love seeing this in the South. You and I were talking about this a little bit offline just before we got started here. Those veteran SS Pioneers, what makes them so insane?
Right, because you got the veteran trait as well as the Rough and SS trait with the stress resilience makes them pretty damn nasty. And also because you still have an MG42, you can fight pretty well at long range just after Machikis and not having a nice time. We've even seen an IL-2 being brought in, but that flat gun is going to force him away.
Yes, and that 190 seems to be coming in to get his own pound of flesh, and IL-2 is resilient, but even he can't stand up the firepower of that magnitude.
Oh yeah, I mean, bloody Focke-Wulfs, even though it's his only fighter card, or playing card in general, not a bad card, because, yeah, Focke-Wulfs will shoot down anything with the amount of cannons that it has.
Absolutely true. And one of the things that I definitely want to make sure we touched on as well, because the early infantry fight here is going to be so important in the south, is the Bavarongs as well. So we're talking about the idea of the SS Pioneers being ridiculously good with that Waffen SS and the veteran stuff right there. But add in an officer trait and get that additional half, stress. And those guys are absolutely bloody terrifying.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard to really knock out. But at the same time, Atreides does have a lot of Sturmoviki troops. I mean, and those flamethrowers at close range to perform pretty well. The recon run didn't perform that great. But so far, I mean, it's a 14-10. Atreides does have the northern town. Here we are seeing AS starting to move in the air with some of his SS Flame Pioneer troops.
Yes, indeed. But you got to be concerned here. There's a 37 mil, and there's an IS-2 on this hillside. He's got an awful good field of fire, and you can see the devastating effect that can happen there, as well as, geez, even that 45 mil does decent work as well.
Yeah, I mean, 45 mils in this mod are more of light infantry support guns and actual anti-tank, although they still perform decent anti-tank, but with the amount of high explosive shells it has, I mean, most of the time you're going to be blowing up infantry.
Indeed. Indeed. Down to the south, I want to make a quick call out that town, it is 14-10, but I think that's more because the Germans haven't really pushed that center too aggressively. If they were just a little bit more frisky in the south, heck, push up that P4 a little bit, they have an 81mm stovepipe kind of ready to go, they could have some real good opportunities here.
Yeah, he definitely try and make some push happen. It also doesn't help out his Flam Pioneers in the center on exerting any influence to capture that one flag air, so that is definitely something he could pretty easily deal with just one decent infantry unit.
That's true. That's true. At the same time, fighting squads to the south, we have 3 trucks moving into Sturmoviki, but the Sturmoviki are awful far off. And
Yeah.
yep, there's a Comparati. So if this guy goes down, expect to see a crazy swing of territory here on the southern side of the map.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if some of Vikis do get into the town, because they could actually halt this push. Those veteran pioneers can have a nasty time when they're being shot at by flamethrowers. And I feel like the Sturmoviki are going to be able to get into there, so this will give Atreides some last hope in holding that area.
I mean, yes and no, but mostly yes. I mean, if you look at the Sturmoviki coming on in, if the Pioneers can get any kind of line of sight on that road, and to be fair, right now, not a great sight line unless they maybe move up to those houses to their northeast, they can start levying that LMG fire down, and that is almost as good. Not, a great replacement, but it's almost as good as kind of denying the area, which is more important than anything else. And additionally, Stug as well. Stug gets eyes on. This is going to be curtains for an awful lot of these troops, but he's just barely avoiding this.
There we go. They finally get
never
spotted.
mind. They're going to get out just in time, because the Stug's going to go and have that recyc of trying to see anything here, so... Pick up one flag, though. Still a bit of a bleed for AS, but Atreides is definitely ready and raring to go.
Yep, and holding onto that, northern town is such a huge boon on this map, because it's pretty easy to hold once you capture it. Holy crap, destroy IS-2 one-shot a Pack 40 from full health. You really don't mess about with IS-2s, man.
That's true, but the IS-2 does have transmission destroyed.
Oh
so
yeah.
Nothing else, at least for right now, he's a pillbox.
Yeah, and he's not in the best spot being below in the valley rather than on the hill, so... whereas, Panther or something, I don't believe there's any... Yeah, there's no A-phase Panthers, so... The IS-2's pretty much safe for now, unless it gets flanked.
Yeah, I keep looking at that Pack 36, but again, the Pack 36, the range isn't the 2K like a lot of the heavier German anti-tank assets. And you were right, Sturmoviki is pushing back the Pioneers, both of them falling back in disarray. And I don't think that's not a vehicle coming. It's not. He's shooting at that. He's shooting at the T-34. That's Stug.
Yep. That's a great position for the Stug. Yeah, you can just knock out a lot of reinforcements coming down that road, and with the heavy armor, heavy veteran machine, good gun. Unless it's an IS-2 coming down, he's gonna be able to blow it up.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? We love kind of bringing this up, but Stugs are not made for open field work unless you have supporting assets on either side.
Yeah.
But stick them in a town, and at that point, they will just do the Führer's work. Well, man, I don't want to be heretical here, so yeah.
Yeah, I do like the Mortar play as well. And we're seeing another IR2 being brought in, but once again, I think it's going to go down to the run-2 punch.
I have never seen an IL-2s be taking such crazy and accurate criticals so quickly. I am so used to them to just getting absolutely pantsed and still not really caring. They, walk through a curtain of fire and nobody cares. Ooh, P4 up to the north gets taken out. The IS-2, doesn't matter if he's a pillbox or not, he is just destroying everything.
Yeah, and he's had a pretty good push here from Atreides, trying to keep his pressure on the northern side. He does have infantry in that, North Russian forest. The Sturmoviki dozer and whatnot. It'd be interesting to see if he actually decides to make it up the hill and try to contest that one little flag right on the edge. That's usually a pretty good flag to contest. You can just put infantry along the southern slope and just, exert influence.
And isn't that what we all want to have? Just, just to exert a little bit of influence here and there.
Yeah, that's what the YouTube channel's for.
Yeah, that's certainly one way to look at it. T-34 is going to start pounding these convicts over here. And, I guess I've always wondered about the sanity of giving a machine gun to some convicts, but I suppose when you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, yikes. Pack 36 will probably go and take his own pound of flesh and return that T-34. But the T-34, again, while that will be a bad loss, who really cares? It's a T-34.
You got plenty more. I'm just happy to see this, the rocket granate, steel granate, or whatever you bloody call it, being used on the Pack 36.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's what it was. The Rakettenwerfer over here, a beautiful little gun, but just had zero real opportunity to use that stuff.
Yeah.
Looking otherwise, yes, sir? Mm-hmm.
Oh, just looking the, the southern town has definitely slowed down a bit, and I think it's a really good example of how just having a leader unit and bluffing is actually helping Atreides a lot in the southern town, because he should really be fully kicked out of it, but I feel like AS feels there's more infantry here than it actually is. So even though he has an overwhelming force, he's not gonna push up and clear up the town, which is gonna be a big mistake. And if that leader unit wasn't, the influence would definitely be quite different.
And the weird thing is, we've seen this kind of tactic happen before, so it means one of two things. Either we're not really sure yet what probability is between bluffing versus not bluffing. Of course, we're seeing a mortar firing at the T-34, so it's possible he might be nervous about that. Or two, everybody who's getting caught bluffing by this, or being caught out by this bluff, is not watching our replays and needs to watch more of them, I think. So,
I like the idea.
you guys are out there. More mortars to the north. I think we're going to see an attempted push, as we do have, basically the SS police forcing in 3 squads of convicts moving to the eastern side there.
Yeah. I mean, at least those Bavarians are much better than SS trooping, because they were kind enough to give them a machine gun. An MG42, that's not bad.
Exactly. Just a quick reminder, remember that in this particular case, if you have any discipline trait, it removes the nerf that each particular squad or unit has over here. So, like the Ersatz troop in, like these Bavarians over here as well.
Yeah.
So, force multiplier, making that thing actually a worthwhile trait, and making sure that it makes sense to actually bring those dudes in.
Yeah.
One thing that I am a little curious about is that with the motorized automachiki, the guards on a motorized automachiki, with the PP Shahs, I still don't think the Bavarians can stand up to them. I think they get thrust into the Sturmovikis, maybe even the Sturmoviki dozers over here as well. But the automachikis in a prepared position, don't know that's going to work too well for them.
Well, the Avtos?
Yes.
Yeah, long range are gonna do bad, of course, but if they do get close, SMG troops will mess up the Bavarians. The problem is that the Bavarians are in light force, so they're gonna be able to get, like, I believe a few. Actually, I don't know. No. The PPS. This is Redstorm. SMGs can actually shoot across maximum line of sight in light forest, so they're not that bad.
And that's kind of my concern. I mean, maybe I misstated that. I don't think the German infantry, with this push, without any kind of artillery support, is going to dislodge them.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I feel like... Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah. Mortars in the meantime, no, they're going to be aiming for the IS-2, which looks like what they might end up doing is they might end up accidentally killing that supply truck.
Even though AS doesn't have a whole lot of artillery in his deck, I mean, he's making the most bang of his buck with his few mortars that he does have available. Be interesting to see if he does try to get those 150mm field guns out, because they can be pretty damn good in this mod. You can actually blow up tanks somewhat well with him.
And I think he's going to need to do that. I think the continue to be a constant issue no matter what. Looking down to the south, the actual P-Shrex can come on in and sneak a quick kill on the T-34. Yes, he does.
Nice. That's a lovely little sneak attack, yeah.
And that's going to clear up an awful lot. The guard PTRS over here, it's entirely possible P-Shrek doesn't even see the PTRS because that one lone guard literally to his west.
Yeah.
But he might be able to give a little bit of warning before the entire world falls upon his head.
And it is this funny scene, just this huge build-up of German forces in this southern town, and there's only like 3 Russian units to stop this. Once again, the kind of like the bluffing aspect and reconnaissance is so important in Steel Division in general, especially in the mod.
But one thing to be kind of terrified about, that's an IS-2 coming down that road.
Oh. Yeah, the Stug's gonna have a nasty time dealing with that. But the infantry are gonna be in pretty good defensive positions. The IS-2 can't fight all of him, but with the upcoming infantry support, he definitely has a chance.
Not a good one, but he has a chance.
Yeah. I mean, they've got like a lot of veteran SS troops in there, the leader backed up in defensive positions. It's going to be interesting to see how Atreides can pull this off.
Not for nothing, but I can't help but feel I would try to go and force the targeting on the DP groups. Like, I know literally marking down the shots you want him to take it seems kind of counterintuitive, but I feel like the tank is not going to take the town. The infantry is going to take the town.
That's a very good point. and you're not going to really penetrate the IS-2, really. I mean, you do have a chance of a Stug at closer range, but you might as well just try to get the more confirmed kills with the infantry.
Exactly.
I do like how you got flank pioneers to clear that northern forest of the town. It's usually a pretty important artery to hold if you want to really secure that town area, and does open up more possibilities in striking up north.
Absolutely. But two Sharmaviki squads over here moving into the town, actually third one moving into the south, excuse me. And also worth noting that up to the north, Pack 36s are trying to call down some unholy firepower on advancing infantry. Artillery strike does hit that northern town as well. That's the off-map 105s. And... Oof. Super lucky on some of those hits. Hitting the Sharmaviki squads in that... What'd you call that forest before?
What did I call it?
I'm not really sure.
Northwestern Forest?
Sure, Northwestern
Northwest
Forest.
Airfield?
I thought there was like a pithy, you know,
no,
rather British/Canadian thing you were kind of going with there, and I was like, I was ready to extol the virtues of it. What else I extol the virtues of is that Pack 36 is going to be able to engage that supply truck, and despite the fact that it's not moving, still not moving.
It's a sit until I get coming now. Any day, Pack 36, you take your time. You know, it's no rush. Just come on.
I get the feeling he's going to force him back before he actually gets a kill. Oh, there we go. I had to call out the casting.
Hats off to you, sir. Hats off. That's a good kill, nonetheless, even though it took him way too many shots to blow up a single bloody truck. But the Bavarians are pushing through, and it seems like with just the overwhelming numbers that aren't going to be able to clear up the Russian infantry. And also having the field police is definitely helping out quite a bit. I do like that call. Oh no, the Sturmovicchio might come in clutch.
They might come in clutch, but I think they're reloading right now. And if they get pinned down at that point, yep, he's going to sweep around, and that's the two surrenders. So that's a pretty devastating loss there. Ooh, we have ourselves a Hero Panther coming on in.
Oh yeah,
he'll be dead shortly. Don't get me wrong, but we have a Hero Panther.
Definitely going to be a good call in to try and deal with that IS-2. I do
Also
like how Atreides is also moving up at Superi, up the hill, just trying to do a little bit of sneaky play.
Well, I was going to say, actually, on the reverse side of things, we actually have Germans lunging through on the south. We have a weird kind of thing. The Germans kind of stayed to the town, and the Russians, they stayed in their natural habitat in the trees. But now we have this lunge forward again. Military police driving the convicts before them. I mean, we have ourselves a very kind of 40k Imperial Guard kind of thing, with the commissars, throwing troops forward.
Yeah, I do like how 5th SS is set up like this, where you do have those crazy elite, super soldier SS troop nonsense, blah blah blah. But then you also have field police and, draft battalions backing you up as well. It's a nice mixture.
Yeah, you have Hans, and you have Jeff, who's got to be encouraged to go to the battle. Superi is completely and totally surrounded. He's not been cleared off just yet. There's two squads of Bavarians in the meantime. Mortars, in the meantime, also looking to go engage that town. And the Hero Panther is going to get engaged by this IS-2, I imagine, pretty darn quickly. But for the meantime, he is just picking on all the infantry, and he dies instead.
Of course. Just first engagement. It always happens with the hero units, Khan.
Yeah, but eventually they run out of ammunition, right? So that's true. Something.
And they still have a pretty realistic ammunition load for IS-2s and Redstorm, so he only has 8 AP shots left. It will take him like 8 minutes to fire them all off with that one round a minute. I think it's actually a little bit faster. It's still slow. And the IS-2 in the southern town is not having a good time against his Pack 40.
Nope, not at all. And indeed, he has an even worse time as he goes down in a fiery blaze of glory.
Yeah, Atreides has managed to get a foothold back in the town of Sturmovikis. I do like how there's a little bit of smoke. I'm wondering who chucked that. I don't think it was. I think it was probably the Mortar. But if Atreides wants to get into his town, he definitely want to think about doing some more smoke play, because the problem is where all the SS troops are, long range machine guns, Sturmovikis can't get close. If he can get close with smoke, and he can finish them off with good old fire.
And that's kind of the big goal here, isn't it? But 3 more squads of the, the Flam Pioneers moving on in, and the Commandant here as well. So, Commandant, I feel like if the Comandante squad goes down, oh no, because the combat officer on the other side too. Oh my gosh, we have guys who are just throwing their butter bars back and forth at each other.
As a whole, I mean, both sides are really taking advantage of the leadership, and that's very good to see because having, even though it's not like a chain of command leadership like in vanilla, still having lots of leaders and commanders on the field can make a huge difference, as we saw with that bluffing tactic earlier. Even though it wasn't really much of a tactic, it's more just happenstance, but still, that one 16-point leader, I feel like, really helped secure that town for as long as he could.
I'm fascinated. I don't know what just killed the Focke-Wulf. I don't think it's friendly fire. I don't think friendly fire is possible here, but yet he went down. Like he was poleaxed. But there's no anti-air except, further north. I didn't think I saw anything come up.
The German anti-air?
Yeah, that's what I'm confused
There's one down south.
No, but I mean, it's a friendly fire that can kill the Focke-Wulf because he just went down.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the Russian anti. I think it must have been northern Russian anti-air. It does have decent range.
But we are back to a 12-12, and this southern town is looking awful blue. Checking back to the north real quick as well, as we have ourselves maybe another mortar. Yep, another mortar strike's coming in the northern part of that town. If he can't have that town, nobody's property values are going to be good there.
Yeah.
Though I don't see it being too successful. Because that sniper and associated guard squads are going to be more than enough to push those convicts away.
Yeah. Even though, Atreides has essentially been leading in terms of points this entire match, it still feels pretty even. Like, AS has been hitting pretty hard, he just hasn't been great in terms of capturing flags, and there's been a few blunders and losing some flags in the center for periods of time, which hasn't been helping him. But right now, I still feel like Atreides is actually... I know both sides really have momentum. I mean, Atreides has momentum up north, or down south. AS is definitely leading the charge a little bit more aggressively. All the way far south. I mean, Atreides still has a lot of Thermofikis and an SU-122 to try and ward off his Bavarian push.
Well, he's got those Thermofikis over here in the first place. I get the feeling that it's not going to cause too much of a hassle if those guys just continue to kind of go forward.
Yep, just clear through the forest and burn anything that sounds German. Or I spend my Saturday afternoons.
Wow. You know what? I can't do this right now. Burn anything that's not German. Rang, it's been a long enough part of time. I feel like, my people have ruled your people for hundreds of years, and you've been okay with it. But then you attack the other side of me, and I'm hurt. I'm hurt. IS-2 transmission destroyed again. Forgive me for cutting you off right there. And the northwestern forest, we see the Germans being driven right back out. Of course, if that Flak 36 had anything to say about it, it'd be better. But I don't see him moving any further forwards to get line of sight on those Automachikis or the Guard TPs. And wait a second, the Guard TPs, the Automachikis have no bullets.
Oh wow, they're like, that's a bad problem to have, or a good problem in a way. But wow, I've never seen that happen on an SMG squad. They usually just die.
They are literally at this point just there to soak up fire, which is something I don't think I've ever seen happen.
Yeah, I'm impressed by that. And I still have like 8 guys left in that squad. I only took 1 casualty and used up all the ammunition.
I don't know that Atreides knows that those guys don't have ammunition.
We might not need to for much longer of all this, German mechanized push being brought in.
Oh, no, they do have, though?
80 grenades. Yeah, there we go. They do go down, but at least they did something before they died. And yeah, AS is going to be leading the counterattack here with his SS Panzer Grenadier, or mounted Panzer Grenadiers, slightly smaller squads for the half-tracks. And I mean, Atreides does have some long range to the 76mm, but I don't know, maybe he can actually, or AS can actually push into this northern town now. I mean, there's a huge bloody force, and Atreides doesn't have that much yet, especially in the town. So it'll be interesting to see how this will go.
The problem is that by putting more troops to the north, he's given up the south. So right now we're back to that 13-11 bleed again.
Yeah.
And yes, I know we're bringing in like this. Here's your 150 IG over here, and there's 3 more squads of troops. But still a bit of a scratch defense, and you've got to contend with a T-34 and a bunch of IS-122s. Oh, excuse me. Actually, no, it's tons of T-34s.
Yeah.
It feels like wherever the 5th Viking is strong, they blow the rest of the map. And I don't know if that's something that's endemic to the matchups we've been seeing, or just kind of the bad luck, or what it is.
I think Atreides is just doing a very good job of poking on all flanks of the map and not having tunnel vision. Like, when he's quite heavy push up and up north, he started getting guys down south to try and retake his area, so just flipping back and forth, which is a very good strategy.
Now we are going to see a off-map call-in. Basically 75 mils ISU. I always want to say that. SU-122 goes down, but we have an off-map call-in. The 76 mil is going to start to engage this town.
Ooh.
And it is perfectly placed. So look to see another Russian push on the southern side to take another flag and bring it back to another 13-11.
This could work really well. I mean, the Stug can't even move. His driver's been killed and no one knows how to drive a Stug.
You know, bizarrely enough, I actually saw. You said the driver was killed, but he moved east by 100 meters. So either his momentum was just that good, or the rest of the crew just got out in the back and pushed. I don't know which one.
I'm gonna say the crew just pushed. I just want
to.
That image is hilarious.
That certainly is the headcanon in my mind.
Yeah, but there we go. The artillery strike. They're in. Not yet. Okay, there we go. There's still more. I wonder if he's actually going to stress out anything completely here.
I'm sorry, my mind was to the north as we have the Flak 38 is engaged in the town, and the 37 mils on the Russian side are engaged in the German infantry. And really the only person having a good day is anyone not in that town.
Yeah, it's a terrible town to be in, really. I mean, you're in between a rock and a hard place with both of those massive hillsides, but AS has got long-range firepower of the Panther, and moving his infantry to clear the town out, so he's doing pretty good now, and that's going to be a good position to hold on to. Give him a good defensive base up north.
I also didn't realize that the Soviets get as many officers as they do. There's another combat officer here to the north, but if he goes down, yowza.
He's got the B-phase card of combat, so he has 3 of them, which is quite nice. Like, some divisions from Redstorm get, like, 2 in B, and then some of, like, more infantry divisions usually get 3. Like, higher combat, you know, higher commanders.
It really does make sense.
I do like how down south the remnants of that half-track push are behind enemy lines and not having a very good time. You know, the artillery strike didn't really do that much. It stressed out some of the SS Panzer Grenadiers and whatnot, but it's still there. I mean, that, you know, stress resilience traits definitely helped him out quite a bit in not being too phased by an artillery strike.
Which is certainly surprising, because I can tell you I would be quite phased by that.
Mm-hmm.
And all of my suspicions before about it being a gloom and doom kind of material here on the southern side from the Vikings, they're doing all right. They're not taking ground easily, mind you. They're definitely taking, you know, costing a pound of flesh or 3 or score, but they are taking ground, just extremely slowly.
It's pretty deadly CQC fighting here, but he's managing to catch these Saparis more open engagements and not in a position to throw their satchel charges, so that's pretty damn good for him.
You know, I was trying to check out, it's one of the things with Redstorm, I can never quite recall if they immediately go with a leader trait, if that's the same kind of maneuver over here as discipline. And the answer to that is no. But having a Stug nearby is still not anything to sneeze at.
Yeah.
Also, I'm laughing that a Stug can get a turret stuck crit, since it doesn't have a turret.
Oh my god, you're right. Does that even... Game-wise, does that even do anything? I doubt it.
I think what that means is that the traverse gets killed. Because they do have limited traverse, so I think they'll have to point and shoot the entire time. But that's just a supposition.
I mean, I think the German crew just built a turret on top of the tank, let the Russians shoot it, and it's like, oh no, our turret's stuck now.
Well, they've certainly had a charitable day, so...
There we go. I do like this mortar play down south, stunning up the Russian infantry blob, and our AS is trying to go in for the kill. So good little 1-2 punch with what is left of his forces, which isn't a whole lot. It's pretty bloody from both sides. So we do have Atreides bringing in heavy reinforcements, and AS bringing a heavy reinforcement of a Panther into that southern town, which I don't really think it's going to be the best calling. I mean, it is at 1 IS-2, he could shoot across the river, but the Black 40s, yeah, and he could probably maybe blow him up. But in terms of actually a town fight, I don't think the Panther is the best bet.
No. No, absolutely not.
We're seeing 2 IS-2s up north here, Khan, so Atreides is going pretty heavy duty, but I think the Panther in the defensive position is going to be able to engage these one at a time. He should be able to like kill one of these IS-2s.
See, he can get a stuck turret. That makes sense.
Yeah. It's a big turret too, so there's a lot to get stuck.
Well, I would say he's dummy thick, but I think the fact that the driver just got killed proves that he's not quite as thick as he might want. He's 3 C's thick with a P at the end.
It's going to be even thicker with all those 75mm shells lodged into the front of his armor.
Well, I mean, got a KO, got a turret stuck, got a driver killed, but you can see right now he's still reversing. So apparently it's like Indiana Jones where the driver gets shot and there's like falling against the gear shift. Like we got one of those things going on here.
Yeah, but Atreides really sort of moved up his other IS-2 to help out in that engagement, because he might have been able to blow up the Panther. But no, he's going to lose it one at a time, and now he's going to move up the second run, which is not the best position to be in.
I think the reason we didn't see that happen though is I think he was too busy microing in the south.
Fair enough. Oh yeah, we got this. Like the southern side just goes like empty to full in just a few minutes. It's like a block party.
Yeah, and every single guy over here is getting blocked out of the town though. I get the feeling, and I'm very happy to be wrong on this. I get the feeling that AS might be running a little bit low on infantry overall.
Yeah, as we see, he doesn't have any raw she-face cards in his deck. I mean, you know, his big heavy hitters, of course, are the Panthers, but any sort of infantry engagement which he's getting stuck in the southern area of the map, heavy tanks aren't really gonna make or break it. And Sturmovikis and just 55th Guards in general have really bloody good infantry. One of the things I really do like about this mod is there's quite a few Russian divisions that have infantry that can go toe-to-toe with your crazy Panzer Grenadier, you know, Trin MG42 teams. Especially at close range.
Indeed. Indeed. We are going to see this Panther's probably going to go down, courtesy of the ZIS-3.
Yeah.
But by the same token, this Pack 40 is able to go, and he killed the crew of that IS-2, so while it's not the most ideal of moments here, and geez, even firing the 150 at it, yeah, I can't help but feel like this is still not a great trade. I don't know.
No, yeah, that Panther's just not in a good position at all. There really wasn't much he could have done in that town. He really should have just got like another Stug and some more infantry to just try and hold it, because he's getting pushed out pretty hard now. I mean, it's really just the Panther and the Commandant, you know, holding the front line, yeah. The Sturmoviki PTR is actually pinned down. We've got another Sturmoviki coming in.
And the unfortunate thing here is that, like you said before, the Viking division isn't being outfought. It's just not holding the perfect ground for it. And we have a lot of these places that are just tantalizingly barely out of reach. Let that flag just flip a little bit further north in the town, so we got a 12-12 for this second. But that's not a consistent thing, and that, I think, is the hard part to kind of be worrying about here. Ooh. Panther guns jams the gun, and I think one more shot might kill him. No, never mind.
I think one more shot might kill him.
Watch him get out before he gets one last round off. Yep.
Yeah, he's not even gonna happen. It's such a shame. Well, good for IS-2 at least. But I mean, Atreides has managed to somewhat get a foothold, at least one flag in that northern town, so I feel like he can get some more infantry into here and actually retake it. But AS is going heavy in the armor now. Another Panther up north and a Stug 4 Führer. Probably gonna need some more infantry if he really wants to push forward, but I know, looking at this in the northern, like, central area, there's not a whole lot here, Khan. I think a heavy tank push with infantry support could actually get to the other side of the hill.
It's possible, yes, but one thing that has to happen to the PTRS squads can't be allowed to bedevil his advance.
Oh yeah, those PTRS squads should. Even though it sounds like a joke, a PTRS squad could be nasty to a Panther. It can still get tracked, it can still get optic criticals. If it gets side shots, oh boy, the Panther is not going to have a nice day.
And yeah, and therein lies the problem, isn't it? Is that a lot of material here, while in and of itself, will not kill. It's just irritating enough to cause some hassles.
Yeah. He's just holding on, you know, with a whole lot of infantry, which is really his advantage. Holding on to those good defensive areas with said infantry. As we're seeing in the southern town, there's a whole lot of guard DPs being brought into here to try and finish up the job. Yes, there's a Panther, but a Panther can't do too much. And there's a bunch of buildings around him. No, prefers to be out in the jungle. Or in the open. The open
Absolutely.
jungle.
Or the closed jungle. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
business hours make no difference to him.
I really want to
Literally
see
needs
his...
Mhm.
Sorry, I really want to see his 150mm gun finally blow up his IS-2.
I'm sure he's going to get the time to, because that Studebaker is there now, which means there's going to be a new crew plopped in.
Oh no,
which means...
you can't fix crew killed.
Well, nobody told him that. But at the same time, too, I mean, we had a crew killed, then we had driver knocked out, which was just, again, one of those, like, moments.
I believe, like, all of the, like, crew criticals can't really be fixed at all with a supply truck.
Well, yeah, I guess it'd be kind of weird to have, okay, oh, the crew's dead? Okay. All right, Jem, get out of the back of the truck. It's your turn. Call the
They
guy
just
like
have
the Norman,
replacement
something like
crew. You open up an ammo box and it's just 5 Russians.
that. Instant tank crew, just add communism. But it doesn't seem to bother the fact that he's got all the Studebakers being moved on in. I think he's got to be a little bit concerned by this veteran guard squad moving on in. And geez, this Ziscon, I always forget how effective artillery platforms they are.
Yeah.
2 shots, and he's already got that down. Wow.
Being pinned down pretty quickly by MG42. I'm also quite surprised with just how damn effective Iat is as well. And the Pak 40 finishes him off, so good counter battery fire, but I mean, it's getting pretty close to. I think AS is going to have it. Oh no, 1311, he's fighting back up north, but the Panthers are being bogged down with this one IS-2, and even its AA guns coming in to help out.
But you know, that's alright. Again, like you said, we have another Stug being brought on in. Yes, losing the Panthers like that is not an ideal moment, but every second they're engaging the Panther, they're not engaging the infantry.
Yeah. And then we got 2 IS-2s, and yeah, it's pretty much going to be it up north. If the infantry just come in and... I mean, he just needs to clear up the Panther Grenadiers, but that shouldn't be too hard.
And this is the defining trait between the two of us, right? I am an optimist. I always believe there's more death and destruction to be happening here. You just want this game to end. I see how it is. I see how it is. Flag 38 in the meantime is going to go and try to engage and help out his troops against all that guard DP squads. And I kind of thought that the 2cm would be a little bit higher suppression, but I guess that's not exactly what I was hoping to see. Like, I thought there'd be more of a oomph behind it, you know?
Yeah, same here. It was pretty pathetic from that flak gun. I think he needs to go back to flak school and get some flak training before he gets any more flak.
Yeah, from his superiors, I imagine that's true. But you know what? Maybe he had the AP ammo firing, so that's why there's no HE, there was no explosion, and hence no explosion. You know, where there's no fire, there's no smoke.
Exactly. Also, I think it's just long range, those things are pretty inaccurate. That's all I'm going to chalk it up to. I mean, Atreides, he's pretty much going to take us. There's only 30 seconds left or so. Lovely infantry push up north of the guards, and the IS-2s is going to be picking off those Panthers, or Panzer IVs at long range.
Honestly, I wasn't even paying attention to the Panzer IV attempt, let's say, to move forward. I was more paying attention to the fact that the IS-2s are just engaged the infantry in the town.
Oh.
And as we took off the last few seconds here, I feel like if we change a couple of flags by 100 meters here, west or east, the major tenor of this game is extremely different.
Yeah, AS did pretty well. I mean, the KD difference is only 600, and even though he didn't really get many points, he was, he was fighting, he was counterattacking and all of that, but he just couldn't play the flags effectively. And I feel like that match really came down to good infantry play, and Atreides definitely beat him out in that, in securing the towns and using good support weaponry. And yes, those Panthers can be scary, but so are IS-2s.
I think the one thing we need to make sure we kind of call out and don't overlook is those weapon teams. So PTRS squad, for example, picking up 4 half-tracks. We have a 37 mil, picking up a number of kills. We have, heck, even the Snipiri. Those snipers were so solid in terms of turning back and turning away a good chunk of AS's troops.
We have one anti-aircraft gun that didn't even shoot down any aircraft, but just killed like a almost company's worth of stuff.
Exactly.
It's not bad at all. Like, yeah, great use of the support weaponry of the Ziscans as Rosine as well. Just those cheap, like, gun support platforms can be so damn useful.
The same thing can be said of the German side of things. We have Wilhelm over here, 1, 2, 3. 3 tanks and 3 anti-tank guns.
Yeah.
Rock solid by him. There's a Stug that was quite well, handled himself rather well. We have another Cable over here. Picked up a couple of ground kills. So the unfortunate thing, really, is just that a lot of the German stuff didn't trade equally. Or not enough for trade equally. Let's be more fair. Not enough for trade equally.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it came down to, and the Panther and IS-2 fights didn't go in favor of the Panthers at all, it felt like.
No, it did not. But at the end of the day, well fought to Atreides, and unfortunately AS just did not get that desired W over here.
Nope.
So the Vikings go off to Valhalla, and the 55th goes on to another W. Any final thoughts before we call this one quits, sir?
No.
Well, folks, in that case, then, until next time, I'm Conor Work.
I'm Rangru, take it easy.